My name's Ledvina. We are in Chelsea, Iowa, actually right on the Tama County line, and we are kidding goats. So, I mean, there's a lot of goats, a lot of different breeds of goats out there. You kind of want to find what is going to work for you. So we run a meat goat operation. We do milk a couple of them for home consumption. Mostly if they need to be milked or if they're having issues, we'll milk them. But we run a meat goat operation. Not just that, but like we don't want to be involved. Nobody wants to be involved if they don't have to at birthing. So we want those good mothering traits. And if you want those goats to do what they're meant to do and have them on their own, you really got to pay attention to genetics and how they're raised. And if you wanted to act natural out on the land, like livestock on the land, you want to be as hands-off as possible. Some people do kid in lots or in yards in smaller areas, and they just live their whole life in those smaller areas. Those can be a little bit higher maintenance animal. I don't think anybody really wants a higher maintenance animal, but you can deal with that if you want to. We pretty well, like we're walking through the farm checking for anybody who is off on their own. Sometimes you'll see a doe by herself first thing in the morning, and you can tell it's going to happen soon, especially if they go to the barn. Everyone stays out on the pasture, out in the open. They don't go to that barn unless it's snowing, raining, maybe at night. But if it's morning and she's alone in the barn by herself, so segregating themselves is definitely a first sign of you're probably going to give birth in the next day. Then you start seeing them sit down and just kind of have contractions. They'll just kind of pulse once in a while, and you know that's going to be closer, like within the next hour, maybe in the next 5 minutes, 20 minutes. Then you'll start seeing they'll pop, some stuff will come out, and that's, you know, it's going to happen soon. Just a mucousy, usually clear, maybe a little cloudy, but usually a thick, clear liquid fluid will come out, and you know it's happening soon. And then you'll start seeing a foot. Typically you'll see 1 foot and then 2 feet and then a nose, because a healthy kid's going to come out like that. And if you don't see a mouth, then you might have a breech. We've culled our genetics down to not having those issues anymore, but I would say the average goat's probably, you just got to pay attention to that, seeing a back leg or a front leg. If they're going like this, that's going to be a problem because your shoulders get caught. So you want that nice fetal position to come out like that. When a kid comes through, they're kind of going in a downward, like a C shape. So they're going out the mother to the ground like that. So if you do have to get involved in pull, you try not to pull straight out. I mean, like calves are different because you got to pull. It's a lot of pressure. People pulling calves, you got to pretty well pull straight out. But if you can pull a downward motion to it, so that kid just pulling a downward motion and then kind of pulling under the mom, that's the ideal C-shaped position to pull a kid out. But you shouldn't have to get involved to pull a kid. I would recommend not getting involved in pulling anything until you know you have to. There are does out there who they'll just walk and they'll drop a kid out. And those tend to be, I don't want to throw breeds under the bus, but the boar goats kind of become that stereotype of just, they'll be walking and the kid will fall out and she won't even turn back and look at it to lick it off. There are all kinds of goats in different breeds that'll do that. It's more of a personal, within a breed, there's bad genetics and you want to kind of cull those out. But you want to find something that's going to have good, healthy kids and not just drop them and walk away. You want them to seclude themselves, and they have that kid. As soon as that kid's born, they're turned around, they're licking that kid off, just cleaning it all up, and they start nudging that kid. A lot of times you'll see they'll lick their butt and they start pushing their butt forward. Well, they're pushing them underneath their udder to get them to suck. And so all of those key ingredients to making like the perfect meat and the perfect mother, the secluding themselves, having the kid, licking the kid off, getting the kid up, pushing the kids toward the udder, and sometimes they'll even arch their hips down so that kid can suck easier, and they're licking it while it's sucking and has the high milk flow, good attachment to the teat, good, and just paying attention to them. So then they'll get up, as we're talking, I'm seeing does walk by, there's kids trying to get some milk from this doe. Well, you kind of want a doe that you don't want a free milk faucet. It's good for the kids that need it. Like if you've got a doe that had a bunch of kids and she doesn't have enough milk, they go over and steal milk from this other doe. But if they're stealing from her, she has less to give to her kids. So you want a doe who pretty well keeps to her own, takes care of her kids, isn't trying to give free milk to the other ones, and takes care of her own. Those kids are going to be higher quality. And you'll see that she'll get up, she'll call for them, they'll be sleeping, and she'll make that sound, and they get up and they run and they nurse, and they're pounding that udder, and they get full, they get fat, and then they walk away and sit back down, and that mother who keeps coming back and checking on them and just keeping her eyes on her kids. If you go over and kind of stand up the kid and they cry and that mom comes running around the corner, that's what we're aiming for. That's what you want in a mother.